I'm Fanny Focsar and I'm here in Hungary's capital Budapest to interview a big political player. Not Viktor Orbán, but the man who wants to replace him and who may have a fighting chance of doing so. I'm here to meet Péter Magyar. He seems interesting. His family includes a former Hungarian president and a judge, and he was married to the former justice minister. Magyar himself was a government insider under Prime Minister Orbán, but he walked away from the ruling Fidesz party and all state finance jobs in protest over a corruption scandal. Now he's the head of the opposition TISZA party, and many polls give it a lead over the ruling Fidesz. And the next elections are in 2026, so could Magyar unseat Orbán and become the next prime minister? And if he did that, what would he do with that? He portrays himself as a clear alternative to Viktor Orbán, but what would that mean to people here in Hungary, and how would he position this country on the international stage? Let's go and ask him. Mr. Magyar, your party TISZA is leading in most polls in Hungary right now. That is unprecedented since Viktor Orbán has been elected in 2010. What do you think is the appeal of the TISZA party and you as a politician right now to Hungarians? What's been triggered?
This party, the Freedom and Respect Party, the TISZA in Hungarian, is much more than me. It's much more than 1,500 TISZA islands, much more than our volunteers. It's rather a movement, the movement of the vast majority of the Hungarian people against corruption, lies, propaganda, autocracy. So the vast majority of the Hungarian people want to have a new Hungary in a very short time. But there are hundreds of secrets, I think. So the very bad situation of the Hungarian economy, the cost of living crisis caused by the Orbán government, the 2.5 times higher inflation in Hungary than the EU average, the condition, the very poor condition of the Hungarian state healthcare system, and also the education system, maybe the lack of the EU funds, which are crucial, which would be crucial for the Hungarian economy. So they are all together the secrets.
Viktor Orbán and his Fidesz party, as well as a lot of his supporters, would describe you rather as a threat to Hungary's freedom and sovereignty. Why?
They do the same with all the opposition parties from the very beginning, at least from 2010. They always need some figures like George Soros or Brussels, or the president of the European Commission, or the chairman of the European People's Party, somebody to fight against. And this is the same story again. We are attacked and we are somehow blackmailed and attacked as a foreign agent of Brussels or I don't know whom. They want to distract the attention from the state of play in Hungary.
How do you want to be seen?
Completely the opposite. Like Orbán, we don't need any enemy. One of our main aims is to reunite the nations, to stop the propaganda, to stop the hate speech, and to speak about the reality, about the conditions, about the state of play of our country. Otherwise, we won't be able to restart the Hungarian economy, to rebuild the nation, to bring back or to bring home the EU funds. We should speak about the reality. We should find national minimums, at least 10 or 15, not to question by anybody in the political era. So our main goal is, after winning the election, general election will be held normally next spring, 2026, but we will see. There are rumors about an early election in autumn, maybe in October. And the first step will be, for the next Hungarian Prime Minister, is to join the European Public Prosecutor's Office to stop the corruption and to fly to Brussels and to negotiate with the European Commissions, with all the institutions, and to defreeze the EU funds.
Is there anything you would like to adapt from Fidesz party's policies going back all the way to 1998 when Prime Minister Viktor Orbán was elected for the first time, but was described as a centre-right party before it slowly but surely drifted towards the populist far-right.
We can keep the child and family support system, but of course we should somehow change and to make it more better and to more supportive for the younger women. And we should keep the southern border fence against illegal migration. We should keep several things, of course. They have had the chance for governing this beautiful, our beloved country for 15 years now and 4 years before. So, of course, they have made good decisions as well, and we will keep them. All of the good decisions will be made, and we will have new ones as well, of course.
You mentioned there are some rumors allegedly that there may be an early elections, maybe September, October, who knows. My question to you, Fidesz has a rather strong local network built up over the years. How do you recruit basically enough people to be ready if there is an early election? Where do things stand right now on an operational level for TISZA?
Yeah, it's a good question, but to be honest, we are very strong in the countryside as well. I made personally many rallies. I had the chance to visit at least 190 municipalities for 6 weeks in last spring, and we continue this rally in autumn, and we will do it next week further, and that's our only chance, and that's why we are doing our best to reach everybody, to reach out all the municipalities in Hungary.
How big is this challenge in the light of the fact that a huge part of the media sector is under government control or controlled by people affiliated with the government? Basically, how do you reach people with your message, the ones who don't turn out to see you in these rural communities? What's the challenge here?
There are huge problems with the media freedom in Hungary. I can tell you, what we have is only my personal Facebook page and maybe the Instagram and YouTube and TikTok, but I started with the Facebook page. Nowadays I have more or less 500,000 followers on Facebook, and this is our biggest tool to reach in the online era the people. But as I mentioned, our only chance is to go there, directly to the people. Not only me, but my colleagues. We have 7 MEPs in the European Parliament, 10 in the Assembly of Budapest, 10 MPs. So, and of course we are now recruiting the new candidates for the general elections. So day by day we are more and more, and our main saying is step by step and brick by brick. And we use this saying also in building the party and reaching the people. That's it.
Are you prepared for possible infiltration?
Of course, you can be prepared 100%, never, but we are doing our best. And of course, this is an open candidacy, so it's also a new phenomenon to recruit candidates on a web page and to make it public and available for everybody. Of course, we should make background checks, etc., and we should work together. We will work together with the possible candidates, and we will check them how they are able to work together, how they are able to convince the people, whether they know enough the conditions in this constituency, and we will do our best. So there are no secrets in the politics, and we won't make any background deals behind closed doors as the opposition and the government.
When you go on your nationwide tour that you've done already last year and you see all these people, what do you think, who is your target? Is it the undecided voters, or can you even think about wanting to convince the core Fidesz voter, or is that illusional?
Actually everybody, so we don't have now enough time and energy to speak about ideologies. Of course, I have a right-wing background, but we are waiting everybody, and I can promise to the Hungarians that we will represent everybody. We don't care whether you are a Fidesz voter or an opposition voter or an undecided voter, but that's true that in deep elections we've received several votes from the undecided voters and from the voters who maybe didn't vote for decades, and the youngers. This is the first time in Hungary that the majority of the younger generations are interested in politics, in public affairs, and I think it's a very good sign. Finally, we are there, because you know the change and the spring and the younger generations, I think, are unstoppable, and they are our biggest boosters and energy factor, because they are ready to do everything for the freedom and for a free and democratic and European and livable Hungary.
If you became Prime Minister, what would happen to Pride that's currently being banned, at least that's the plan, by the Hungarian government?
You know, I don't know who will be the next Prime Minister. There is no decision in our party about the candidate, but I can tell you that we should rather speak about the assembly rights, which is crucial and which is in the heart of our constitutions, and I think in all of the constitutions in the European Union, and we should safeguard it in any possible ways, and then we will do accordingly. And to be more precise, the Pride was held in the last year and during the Orbán government in every year. And the Prime Minister was quite supportive towards the Pride and all the ministers as well, and they were very keen to safeguard the assembly rights. This is now a trick against to divide the nations and to speak more about ideological questions. We don't want to go into their street or into that direction. What we can promise and we will do is to keep the assembly rights as it was before.
When you say your party should be open to everyone, where not everyone is of the same opinion, how does that make your political stance difficult in wanting to speak to everybody when there are issues that are very divisive in this country? For example, same-sex marriage, adoption by same-sex couples, etc.
Yeah, this is the trick, and this is the aim of the Orbán government and this power machine, because it's rather a power machine, not a governing party, to divide the people and not to speak about the realities as I mentioned, and then we should avoid these debates. What we can promise and offer for the Hungarian people is that we will be building together a united nations, and everybody will live in a way he or she would like to live until they don't break the rules and don't harm anybody else. That's it. To live and to let them live, that's the main rule. But we don't want to enter into this discussion and quarrel about ideologies. Of course, we have to stand for democracy and rule of law, and we will do so and accordingly. But this is not the right time to speak about ideological questions. And there will be questions, tough questions, you mentioned some of them, which will be decided by the people, not by Péter Magyar or by the TISZA party. That's why we have this possibility in the constitutions to hold referendums, and we will do accordingly. So if there is any request from the people, any of the people of the society, we will hold a referendum about decisive questions as well.
Some people say it may be a bit risky that this entire party is built around one face, at least it appears to be, that is your face only, Péter Magyar. How do you see that, also given what you just said previously, that it's not decided yet who is going to be the Prime Minister candidate for this party?
Oh, it's not a one-man show anymore. I was able to, or we were able to introduce many of our candidates and experts, and we are recruiting the candidates day by day. But of course the risks are there, because we are facing a propaganda machine, a power machine, and the Fidesz will do their best to criminalize our party, to somehow stop the possibilities to run the elections. So we are well prepared for all of their actions, and we are doing our best.
If you're Prime Minister or somebody of the TISZA party that's not named yet, what will be the aim? holding accountable Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, the Fidesz party that you keep talking about, that they need to be held accountable, what does that practically mean? Going to jail, for example?
Yeah, actually we have a very popular program point is the road to the jail. But it means just that it's not my task, and it is not the task of the politicians to decide whether anybody is guilty or not and should go to the jail or not. We should protect and safeguard the independence of the judiciary and to offer all the necessary conditions to the police and of course to the public prosecutor's office to work, to do their job. And if we do accordingly, they will do their job. I'm 100% sure.
What's your stance on Ukraine? What should Hungary's stance be on Ukraine?
You know, now there is a document, ceasefire offer or document on the table, accepted by Ukraine and done maybe by the US administration. And the ball is in the court of Putin, the aggressor. And I have to strongly call the Hungarian Prime Minister and all the politicians of the Fidesz party to call their ally in the Kremlin and to convince Vladimir Putin to accept at least this ceasefire document. And of course the TISZA will be working also for the peace in every possible way. And this is the only, I think, chance for Europe and for Ukraine to live in a normal way.
Would you want to push back on pro-Russian agendas in Hungary if there are these agendas?
There is the energy issue, there is the security issue, so we should be in contact with the Russians, with all other countries, but if you go around in Budapest or everywhere in Hungary, they are pro-Europeans and they are very, very proud Hungarians, but after that they are proud Europeans, and that's the way how we will deal with it, and we will always keep in mind from where we are coming and where we are going. And this is not Russia, this is not Asia, this is Europe.
There have been others before who wanted to oust Prime Minister Viktor Orbán. In 2022, it was a united opposition of some sort. What is different?
The reality is on the street, is in the shop. If you check the prices in the shops, the reality is there. We are independent from all the parties, and we will be united just with the people, with the Hungarian people, and we don't care about any of the parties, about the old oppositions or status quo. As I mentioned, there is a very strong anti-establishment argument, and we should keep in mind this as well. And of course we need some luck as well, because it won't be easy. It's rather a marathon. It's not 100 meters, it's rather a marathon, but I'm very proud of my colleagues and all of our volunteers. We do have already 40,000–50,000 volunteers around the country. It's also unprecedented in Hungary. It's much more than the volunteers of Fidesz, so we count on them, and we are very proud of them and very grateful them, and I can say that we will do it together. Because we do have only one country, and this is our beloved country, Hungary.
Péter, Magyar, thank you very much.
Thank you.